Intelligent people learn from other people's advice. An experienced person learns from their own experience. The idiots never learn. This is a comment left by a recent subscriber who shared their home buying horror story with us. And today we're going to be reviewing their story, and we're going to do a few things. We're going to analyze it, see what went wrong, and see what we can learn from them. So that way maybe we can take those lessons and apply them to your situation in the future. I will give you a warning. These videos tend to be a little bit more on the negative side. So if you're not mentally or emotionally there, I would suggest maybe you shelf this video for another time when you'd feel a little bit more prepared. In January 2023, my wife got pregnant, and then we decided to buy a house. We almost had no debt and just $300 a month in a car payment, $160 car insurance, $2,200 rent in a one-bedroom luxurious type in Tampa, Florida. And my gross income was $159,000 per year, or about $9,000 net income per month. Not bad. We looked for a $400,000 to $500,000 house, and here's the first thing I need to tell you. Don't buy looking for status recognition or emotion. Everyone wants nice things, but listen to me. Buy what you need, not what you desire. Because once that emotion and purchase dopamine goes away, you, especially the breadwinner, will get yourself thinking you could have bought a house for $100,000 less. We put $124,000 as a down payment, and $14,000 out of this $124,000 was to buy points down and the mortgage interest rate so we can be at a 5.99. That being said, the down payment was 15% and not 20%, leaving us with $125 of PMI on our monthly mortgage payment of $3,128. And now, early 2025, I received a property tax adjustment notice from the county with a 48% increase in it. It included a $2,200 CDD annual fee, making my tax bill go from $5,900 to about $9,890 per year. Don't buy a house where the county charges you this. After you buy a property, you will get property taxes reassessed. That's one of the most important things you have to be aware of and know how to calculate before you go see any house. Understand how the calculations are made. Do not proceed unless you understand this. Aside of all this, here comes the insurance. My insurance premium is $2,200 a year. I live in Tampa, Florida, and the last hurricane passed by our neighborhood, and I was damn lucky my roof wasn't damaged. Some of my neighbors didn't have that same luck. They had to pay about 5% of their home price with the insurance to replace the roof. Now my wife and I are going to list our house for less than what we paid because there are houses in my street listed for more than 3 months with no sale. Even after $20,000 full patio premium pavers installed, we looked for 2 houses in the neighborhood we currently live today. The first one was a 3-bedroom with a similar backyard. Very nice house listed for $395, and it was sold a couple of months later for $370. The second one, the one we bought, was a 4-bedroom, 3-car garage listed for $495. And we even got a nice price of $469 after weeks of negotiation. And even after the seller giving us $10,000 towards the closing, now my wife and I are saying to each other, we should have bought that $395,000 house. Once you become a parent, your priorities shift and you realize what matters in life. Having an emergency fund and food on the table. Thankfully, my wife is very financially conscious and agrees with me. Not the reality of some women that would leave you if you lost the house. All right, I don't know about that comment. I hope you guys learned something from my situation. And that's where he says intelligent people learn from someone else's advice. An experienced person learns from their own experience, but the idiots never learn. All right, so let's really break this down and get analytical. But before we do that, I want to just check in with you. You made some choices. You're like in this really self-punishing state. I really want you to know, like, you made the best decision based on what you thought you had. And you live and you learn. Right? Thankfully, you and your wife are very financially conscious. You're course correcting now. I don't know, man. Just have a little grace. Like you're human. You made a mistake. We can whip ourselves once or twice and really, have a quick little funeral over your decision, but we can't just stay in there. We got to kind of snap out of it, which you are. You're making some moves, which is great, but let's not be so self-punishing. Let's learn from it, right? So thank you for being vulnerable. Thank you for sharing your story. But I would just be mindful of your mindset, right? You made some mistakes, yes, but you're learning from them and you're doing better now. That's better than saying, I'm an idiot, I did this, boom, which I don't think you completely did, but you're like flirting with that idea. So let's focus in on some specific details here. We're going to get rid of just the general stuff, and we're going to focus in on like what is actually happening. For starters, he is making $159K gross annual income, which is super solid, very good for you. And he specified he's making about $9,000 of net income. So from the get-go, if we plug in those numbers, we're not going to worry about the gross. We're going to worry about the net.
Let's do net monthly income. And this is my budget breakdown calculator. You can use any calculator really, depending on if you're 25, 30, 35%, etc. You bought around 35% of your net income. So I think approximately you said your payment was like 3,000 something. So you did buy somewhat ideal payment range. So you made the right choice initially. Where things really hit the fan for you was this, right? This whole tax property adjustment notice that you got out of nowhere. I have some questions about that. I'm in Arizona. We don't do that. We don't do the whole thing where if a house sells and property taxes are like readjusted, right? We have our annual property assessment and everybody's taxes adjust every year around there. My question is, were you not aware of the CDD annual fee? And why wasn't it brought to your attention? I would imagine if I sold houses in a state like Florida, I would be aware of that. And I would tell anyone buying in that area, hey, just a heads up, you get this annual fee every year, or your taxes are due for like a reassessment soon. Like that's affecting not only your house, but it's affecting everybody's, like a lot of neighborhoods, right? Or is it just affecting your house? Anyway, I'm not too sure or familiar about this, but my first big issue here, why didn't the agent educate you on the potential way that your payment could go up? Now, this is a good lesson for everybody else. When you're researching buying a home in your local area, local state, you need to make sure to ask your agent, is there anything that could potentially change my payment in the next 5 years? I know the home insurance thing, that's something that's like relatively new because there was recently a hurricane there, and that's something that probably could have been prevented, but I don't know. Like there's something there that, like, if I was a homeowner and I bought somewhere and I just got hit with this massive like tax increase, like somebody must have had an idea of this happening soon. And if it's not the case and it's just completely something super random that's never happened before, then that's just real luck. You made the right call initially. You bought around 30% of your net income. And yes, it did scale back up, and that's terrifying, but you made the best decision with the data you had. This part is more, was a combination of things. We looked for 400 to 500,000. Okay. Here's the first thing I need to tell you. Don't buy looking for status and recognition of emotion. It's so crazy how true this is. You know how many people, they don't tell me, oh, I'm buying this house to impress my dad. They don't say that. But I know I can see their face when they bring their parents over, or I can see their face when they bring their parents and their parents are just disappointed in them for their purchase, right? Or you know, something along those lines. There's always someone we're trying to impress, we're trying to flex as I don't think the kids say that no more. I think it's already outdated or old. But there's like other reasons why we're buying that's not based out of your own why. So I think this is a very solid point, reassessing your why and why you're doing this. And if it's based out of someone else's impression of you, really just stopping yourself before you make a major decision here. So I've said this is a kind of a part of a bigger thing because later on, this gentleman says here, you're looking at neighborhoods and there's another one that you were looking at that was $395, and you're saying, oh, well, we should have bought that $395,000 house. So yeah, if you would have, spent $100,000 less, I mean, that's give or take every $10,000 is like $40, $50. And we're talking a massive like decrease of $400 or $500, right? So yeah, that would have made things a little less, well, a lot looser, but you said it was just you, your wife, and your unborn child at that point. Now they're here. And a dog or something, right? Or dog, a cat, I think you said. So yeah, maybe 4 bedrooms or 2 suites, a 3-car garage was a little bit higher than what you needed. So I think this kind of goes back to reevaluating, or at least for anyone watching this. Like, you want to just kind of do a timeline of what your life is going to give or take look like if you're fortunate enough to I feel like I'm like a Mexican grandma right now, where you say, all right, grandma, I'll see you tomorrow, I'll see you next week, I love you, and then she hits you with the si Dios quiere. It's like, holy shit, grandma, what do you know that I don't know? Am I gonna go freaking die right now? Like, what does that mean? For those that don't know, that means if God is willing. So if you are fortunate enough, you want to kind of just build out a timeline of what you and your partner want. Let me just do a quick one just while we're here chatting it up. So let's say me and my wife are talking. We're like, hey, what's your long-term goals here? What are you trying to do? Well, I would like to, have a kid, like, let's say this is now. I would like to have a kid between here and the next 3 years, right? So it's 1, 2, 3 years. Or this will be kidless, I should say, because you're not going to have it until then. Whenever you do have the kid, I think I want to just space them out like 2 or 3 years. So this will be like kid 1 here. So this is when the first kid arrives, and I want to have another kid then. So that's, and then like, boom, right? So in theory, and once again, as they say, we make plans and God laughs. Who knows what might happen, right? But realistically now with modern medicine, we can plan things out pretty well. I mean, surely my wife did. So if she can do it, everyone is capable of doing it. Not that she's not capable. That came out a little weird. Good thing she doesn't watch these. I love you. I'm sorry. This is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 years, right? Where you would need at least, what is it, 1 bedroom? Well, here's a little secret for everybody. Your kid sleeps with you for the first year. I know they're not supposed to. And I know that the mommy blogs will shame you for saying your baby should be in their own crib. Can we just be realistic here? Our babies are sleeping with us for like the first year. That doesn't make me a bad parent, okay? No judgment. Turn your judgment away. Realistically, you can have a 3-bedroom for 1, 2, 3, 4. Let's say you need that 3rd bedroom for an office. Probably be fine with 4 to 5 years with a 3-bedroom. Or maybe you don't need an office or an extra bedroom. Well, you probably will be fine 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 years, right? So just kind of give a general, like, broad range. Like, I think if you would have done this, or anyone that's looking to buy does this, you can kind of just reassess yourself and say, maybe we don't need that 5-bedroom. Maybe we don't need that 4-bedroom. We can probably just settle for like a nice little 3-bedroom, and in like 5 to 6 years, if the plans stay the same, we can then explore our options and see if it makes sense. If it's going to save you $100,000 and you're going to live more comfortably and anxiety free, it's worth it. Listen, guys, I'm 33 years old. That's how you're getting old. You forget your age. I got diagnosed with high blood pressure about 4 or 5 years ago, just because the amount of stress I carry with me. If I look back and I'm honest with myself, was it really necessary to stress out those years? I'm like removing years of my life because of the stress I have, where I'm not going to be able to see my grandkids grow up because I'm deciding to stress out now. If I would have just stayed more chilled and not really stretch myself and just enjoy my years a bit more and give my kids a more present and enjoyable life now, isn't that worth more than the extra stress and pressure? I don't know. I mean, as you can tell, that idea is not fully formed yet, but we put ourselves in these situations to impress other people, to get a bigger house and all this stuff. Could you be okay with just 3? Probably. It'll save you $100,000 less. You'll have less stress. You'll carry less anxiety. You'll carry less stress. You'll enjoy yourself more. Why do that? Why put yourself in that extra stress of an extra $100K just for that? And of course, I know that's not for you because you're already at the point where you're selling your house, but just for everyone else to consider, essentially. And the last thing I want to really talk about was the thing on the 3rd paragraph where, or not 3rd, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5th paragraph around there, where they talk about how their down payment situation. So they put $124,000 down, and approximately $14,000 of that was to pay down the interest rate to a 5.99. That was very popular at the time. 2023 was a very much a lender buy down situation. I think most lenders now are like not really giving you, or they don't recommend that because rates aren't going to stay high forever. At least that's what they think. So they're telling you to not buy the rate down and just kind of hold on. But you bought a house for 469. Wait, something's not adding up here. 20% of 495. Wait, no, what did they buy the house for? 469. Okay, so down payment was 93K, but you end up spending $124,000. And 14,000 of that was to pay down points. So your total out of pocket, not looking at that, was like 110. So that means that you paid, and I don't know why you didn't just do 20% down. I don't get it. You only did 15% down. I don't know. The math isn't mathing for me there, because if you did 15% down on 469, that's 70,000. And you put 124K down. and you paid only 14,000 of the rate buy down, that's like $40,000 that's not really being accounted for. I know you probably typed this late at night and that doesn't really make sense, but those numbers aren't really adding up. But I will say this, there's a lot of times where people push that down payment, like they push their plan sooner to get the house that they think they want at the time. But as he said, a lot of dopamine, a lot of things going on there, right? But they're like, oh, this is really a house. I know we said we're going to save 10%, or I know we said we're going to save 20%. I know we're going to save whatever, but let's just get into it now and don't worry about that. We'll figure it out. In this case, had they saved just a little extra few months, I don't know how that number worked, but they were close, right? Had they just waited and saved those extra few months to get to that 20%, they would have been put in a better situation where they didn't have the PMI or something there, right? Like, I don't know, the $124, that adds up. That's going to be approximately like $1,200, $1,300 a month, a year, sorry. So it's just something that could have just been tweaked a little bit, right? And the thing is, they always say, well, don't worry, you put 15% down and you're probably going to be able to get the PMI off anyways because you're so close to that. But no, they didn't continue to gain value. So they're not going to be able to get rid of that PMI. If you're in a position where you can do something like that, just wait a little longer and get that PMI paid off. I met with somebody recently who, there's two people. One person was a lot more logical, a lot more understanding. They had 15%, exactly same situation, actually, 15% saved. They were telling the other side, we should just wait. We're close. Let's keep saving. Let's wait for that 20%. We don't have to have that PMI. And guess what? The one that wasn't so calm, the one that was like frantic about a house that they had to have, they had a low credit score, and because of them, the PMI would have been extremely high, right? So the other person wasn't using that. They were being very like, hey, we should just wait 5%. And that's what I recommended. Hey, we should just wait. You're so close, just a few extra months. But the other person was like, but then the house is going to be gone. I need this house. And I gave him a good game plan. Like, all right, if you guys are in that position where you really need a house, this is who I recommend you talk to. They're going to kind of give you a better idea. And, you give them a good game plan, or at least like a next week of things to do. I get a message that evening. We got to look at the house before we do anything. They were so frantic that they were actually messaging the listing agent. It's like, guys, come on, you guys are doing my job. You guys are budding the waters here. Like, let me just do my job, please. They said, okay, well, we got to see it tomorrow at a certain time. Okay, well, next morning I check in. I try to schedule the showing for that time, and that time is already booked. The one that was reasonable wasn't answering me. The one that was frantic said, oh, we're going to wait. We're just going to wait. I think you were right. We're just going to hold off. You're 100% right. Well, I've been doing this for almost 12 years now, so I know I have gut feelings about things. I have a feeling that person was like, I want this house so bad, and I don't like that he told me no, and I'm just gonna go directly to the other agent. But anyways, the point is, sometimes we're just so close to that goal that we just want to abandon ship and let's just get there. Come on, let's just go. Whatever. We're 5% off. Let's just go. You've already worked so hard to get there. Just delay a little bit longer, and it'll be worth much better. Now, that being said, if they would have done this, they still would have ran into the tax issue. They still would have ran into a lot of things. So in conclusion, let's go over the general tips, what we can learn from this story. Ask if there's anything that can change your payment in the future. That way there's no surprises. Your why shouldn't be coming from any other reason than yourself. Don't impress your parents. Just focus on yourself. Map out your ideal future timeline and see how long the house is going to serve you and how much space you're going to truly need. A bigger house isn't worth the financial stress. Focus on what you need, not what you want, and don't jump the gun. Whenever you have a savings goal, stick to it, and eventually you'll get there. Now, I implore you guys, let's be nice. Let's not be rude. Let's not leave nasty comments. This person was willing to share their story. So thanks to them for doing that and being brave doing that. So, we all learn. We're all learning together. So what do you guys think? What lessons did you learn that maybe I didn't pick up on, or just in general, what are your thoughts? I think at the end of the day, make sure you're working with someone that's actually looking out for you, that will look out for certain things like that. I do that with my clients in the Phoenix, Arizona area. So if you're looking for an agent, I'm here. And if you happen to be looking, regardless of the situation, and you're not scared away, you can get connected with the trusted agent referral using the link description, homeandmoney.com/Javier. I also have some cool stuff in the description, like home buying resources that you can collect for free as well. So go ahead and just check it out. There's a lot of goodies there. Appreciate you guys. Thank you. Talk to you soon.